How's it going, guys? And welcome to the DT Wellbeing Podcast with me, DT. Welcome back. Um, you may notice that we're in a different environment today. So I'm after moving the podcast from my bedroom to my living room. And the reason or rationale behind that, there's method to my madness, mostly madness. I keep locking myself out. And I have this kind of love-hate relationship with the security guards here in Trinity, and we have a bit of banter about I'm locking myself out far too frequently. Since I was a child, my friends would describe me as the stupidest smart guy they know. And yeah, look, it's hard to argue with that. So we're doing a podcast from here today, if that's okay with you. So you might actually let me know afterwards whether you prefer it here or in the other room. I don't know. I'm just kind of winging it here, but sure, look, we'll give it a go. So welcome back. I hope you had a nice week. I hope you were kind to yourself. I hope you found some opportunities to do things to make yourself smile and to be happy, and that's what life's all about, right? We're here once. You may as well enjoy yourselves. So today we are going to talk about love and self-love, more specifically, okay? So self-love, crucially important, you know? So yeah, we gotta look after ourselves, like, and self-care is one thing. So I don't even know if this is the correct distinction, but what I do is, like, self-care is what I allow from the outside world in. So like my self-care is a lot of boundaries, really, whereas self-love is what I do for myself from within my well-being bubble. So I'll talk about self-love today, and then maybe I'll talk about kind of love in platonic relationships and maybe romantic relationships as well, but primarily self-love, okay? So what we should be doing to care for ourselves, because it is very, very important. It's a crucial factor of well-being. So what I hope to do today is maybe things that we're not doing, and it kind of be unfair to ourselves or a little bit cruel to ourselves, and maybe offering a solution as well. So hopefully that's what we'll be doing today. So yeah, so look, my sign off, nothing but love. I say it at the end of everything. Like, I do it in conversation. I do it at the end of my Instagram posts, my stories, my podcast. It's nothing but love. And the reason I do that is because there is no space for anything else in this world. There is no space for anything else in this world. And love is, like, so powerful. And it's just a wonderful feeling to have, or something to do. So this is a crucial point, right? Love is a verb. Love is a doing word. Love is something that we do, not something that is there that we can get or something tangible. Love is a verb. So it can be done by us and it can be done upon us, but it's love is a verb. When you start thinking about love as a verb, it kind of changes the game. So like self-love, okay? So it's so important to be compassionate and empathetic and sympathetic to oneself. And I know this from experience, guys. There was a time in my life that I absolutely hated myself, and that's not something that I would say lightly, but it is factually correct. So 2008, when I was in my dark place, I hated myself. And I remember my older brother at the time, Simon, saying to me, Daniel, would you speak this way about anybody else in your world? Would you speak that way about me? Would you speak that way about any of your family or friends? And I wouldn't, but that's how I spoke to myself. My inner dialogue was negative, it was cruel, it was harsh, and it wasn't fair, and it wasn't right. I should have been kinder to myself. So my whole raison d'etre, what I say, the reason I'm here is to be the guy I needed when I was younger. So I really encourage other people, but this is something that I practice myself, is be kind to yourself. Have compassion for yourself. It's very important. And we can do that through, like, inner dialogue, through kind of speaking highly of yourself to yourself, not belittling yourself, not thinking you're inadequate or inferior, or just cutting yourself some slack. And I think a really kind way to do that, or a really kind of apt way to do that, is speak to yourself the way you'd speak to a close friend. or a family member. Because we're not cruel to other people, we shouldn't be cruel to ourselves. It's not fair. You should give yourself the same love that you so readily give to other people in your world. And do it first. Because if you give love to yourself first, well, after that, from that position of strength and compassion, well, then you can start giving love to others. But it has to come from you first. You can't give from an empty cup, and if you don't have love for yourself, it's very hard to share it with anybody else. And having self-love, guys, it creates happiness. It really does, but it starts with you, and then you start a cycle, and you start a knock-on domino effect where you can start spreading love and happiness to others. But you gotta do it to yourself first, and you can't. There's no other way. There is no other way. So you build your love and your compassion and your empathy and your sympathy within oneself first, and then you can start sharing, right? Because love is a verb, but you gotta do it for yourself first. And once you've done that, absolutely, now you can start sharing the love. And I do, and I said all the time, it's like, from Daniel, nothing but love. But because I'm very careful with my self-care and my boundaries, and and I look after myself so well, and my lifestyle and my inner dialogue, and that's so strong, well then of course I can give love and spread positive energy. Of course I can. But could I do that if I wasn't kind to myself? It was impossible to fathom doing what I do in my current situation from the mindset and lifestyle and the dialogue that I had to myself in 2008. Same guy, but different experience for me and different experience for my outer world. And that comes first from me shifting my inner world. Right, so platonic relationships, so friends, family, right? So again, love is a verb. You give the love, you get the love. No question. And you choose to give the love. So look, I speak about my mother all the time. I just love her to bits, right? So she's the most important person in my world, and I love her to absolute bits. And the love that I give to my mom, and I get it back, and it's just, we nourish one another. So that's a real loving platonic relationship. And you can do that with friends, you can do that with other members of your family, and you just choose to do it. And it's being kind and loving and compassionate and empathetic, sympathetic to other human beings, and you just watch it flow back into your world. And even being kind and loving to people who are unkind, that's difficult, but my God, is rewarding, because it changes them. And then their inner world becomes better, and then they start sharing the love and the compassion. It just works, lads. It works. But you got to be proactive in that regard. But it works. And we spoke about Dunbar's number, you have your 5 closest societal members, and then you have an outer 10 of close friends. Give those people your love and watch it come back. And it's great, and it's really rewarding and nourishing. And that oxytocin, I spoke to you about, that really good feeling, good chemical from relationships, and having that compassion for other human beings. It makes us feel good. It does make us feel good. There's an altruistic aspect to it, It's just helping, loving, compassion. You feel good about yourself, and then that person gives it back. There's no losing here. There's no downside. So that does help. And that's, the platonic relationships in your life, they're important. Your friends and your family, they're important. So if you want love, you give love. And if you want compassion, you give compassion. And it's a wonderful, wonderful cycle you get in there. And I've cultivated that. I've cultivated a social network of nothing but love. That's my existence. That the people in my world, it's nothing but this reciprocal sharing of love and affection and compassion, and it's wonderful. It is wonderful, and it's about the quality of your relationships, and the quantity is less important. But the quality can only be improved by proactive action on your side, and you just give the love, and it comes back. So then, and another form of loving relationship would be like a romantic loving relationship, and these they're all so important, right? And I couldn't possibly say that one is more important than the other. So you have your self-love, platonic relationships, but the romantic relationships, obviously very emotive and very powerful. If they weren't, there wouldn't be so many poems and songs and movies and books in the world about romantic love. But it's really powerful, and it's very emotive, because the difference with romantic love, Muhammad had a good platonic relationship, my housemate. I had never informed him of the new the setup. Sorry, Muhammad. With romantic relationships, the difference is obviously there's sex and romance, you know. So you got the love, which is the verb, so it's between two people, and then you have the romance, and then you have the sex. Of course, that's going to clip it up a few gears, you know. It's very much it's intense love, and it's wonderful, you know, and it's amazing, and it's a lot of good stuff. But unfortunately, then there's the negative side of that as well. When things come to an end, like I met a friend last night, a close friend of mine who had just come out of a long-term relationship, and for him, he was just at this moment in time experiencing the very difficult and hard and the heartbreak, you know, and that sadness, and you know, a lot of negative emotions at the end of relationships that we all unfortunately have to experience when relationships of a romantic nature come to an end. Still worth it. Like it's still worth it. And you know, when you have a romantic relationship that just works, in terms of the romance, the sex, and the love, like that's something very, very special indeed. But you only really will have one long-term monogamous committed relationship. You know, that's how it kind of goes. You find one that works, and if you do, you're lucky, and if you don't, that's okay too. But it's if you were to find that, it's a wonderful feeling, because with the like similar, like what I spoke about hormones, there's oxytocin, you get that from that relationship, but you also get vasopressin, which you get from long-term monogamous committed trusting romantic relationships. So that's another really good kind of feeling good chemical that you get from those sort of relationships. But it's all good, because like, you know, love, it is the most powerful feeling or verb that is in existence, and it can change the world, because my philosophy is nothing but love. I have it on my wrist. I don't have a tattoo, but I have my love art here, and it's just like nothing but love. It's all I give, and it's all I want, and there's no space for anything else in this world. But there's certainly no space for anything else in my world, and it's wonderful. It is wonderful. So look, guys, that's me for today. Sorry that, you know, unexpectedly I was in this situation. It's me being tick and forgetting my keys for like about the numbers of times that you would not be able to fathom. I am tick, but I haven't been able to build up the courage to go down to my security guard friends just yet, and the podcast has to go out. Wednesday is Wednesday, day Dean and Shaw. So look after yourselves. Have a little bit of think about that, maybe. If you wouldn't mind, guys, these podcasts now are on YouTube, they're on SoundCloud, and they're on Spotify. So if you could do a bit of subscribing, I'd appreciate it. And if you had any comments regarding the environment, whether it works better here or in my bedroom, could you leave a comment? I would also appreciate that. So yeah, peace and love. But most importantly, nothing but love.